Right, hello to you. I'm here with Christabel Watts from Tech. Hello, Christabel, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Peter. Thanks for inviting me on.
You're more than welcome. Tell me about yourself and Tech, the firm you work for. Just give me a bit of background to them, what they do.
Brilliant. My name's Christabel Watts, and I'm a project manager and energy advisor at Tech, which is short for the Environment Centre. We're an environmental charity based in Southampton, but we work across the whole of the county, so Hampshire, Portsmouth, Southampton, and some work on the Isle of Wight. And we provide advice and support on a range of sustainability issues, but particular focus on energy efficiency and affordable warmth. And that can be for any tenure type. So it could be a homeowner, it could be a tenant, it could be a landlord, it can be social tenants. We also provide some help to businesses and charities and schools and things like that as well.
Okay, that all sounds good. One thing I'm particularly interested in is how a landlord can improve their property. So, do you just want to briefly explain the minimum energy efficiency standard, which takes a bit of saying anyway, MEES, and what its impact or its potential impact on landlords?
Absolutely. So minimum energy efficiency standards have been around for a couple of years. In April 2018, they came in for all new tenancies. And from April this year, so April 2020, they came in for new and existing domestic tenancies. And so what the minimum energy efficiency standard means is that in order to rent out your property, your EPC has to be a minimum standard. And the current minimum standard is an EPC rating of an E. We anticipate that that might go up because it's currently in line with the government's fuel poverty targets to achieve an E by 2020, and that goes up to a D by 2025 and a C by 2030. But obviously, at the moment, it is an E, so that's the baseline that you need to meet.
Okay, and landlords are going to want to know what they can do, and I'm interested. We were talking earlier on about how a landlord can use an energy assessor to assist them. So, just again, describe what an energy assessor could be doing for a landlord.
Yes. So at the moment, when you get your energy assessment done for your EPC, you can ask your energy assessor to do what's called a draft EPC, which means that they can look at some different measures that you could do. All of your energy performance certificates have recommendations on, so they can trial different recommendations and see how much that increases your EPC rating. So that can be done a couple of times before you actually submit it and lodge it online, and that's when it becomes valid. And what it means is you can then get an idea of, if you were to upgrade the boiler, maybe that jumps you up a couple of ratings, or if you were to put loft insulation in, maybe that jumps you up a rating. Even increasing the energy efficiency of the lighting can increase the rating as well. So it gives you a good indicator of what you might want to do, first steps to increase your energy performance certificate so that you're meeting E, and then in the future any other regulations that come in.
I mean, I think it's fair to say even the government say that the EPC is a bit of a blunt instrument because it makes lots and lots of assumptions. People sometimes complain about that. Well, the reason it makes assumptions is so you can compare two properties, and it assumes that the properties are habited the same. But that's interesting. So, what other things do you think landlords could be doing to try and improve their lot with energy ratings at the moment? Because this is the day after the mini budget, so this is July the 9th. I had to check then, and there was an announcement yesterday of some extra money for energy efficiency. So, what could landlords be doing for themselves?
Yeah, so it's quite exciting because for quite a while, the energy efficiency scheme has been predominantly focused on people on benefits, and quite rightly, people who aren't able to afford to get the measures done. And so now the government has brought out this proposal for the Green Home Grant that is coming in September, and initially we weren't sure where the private landlords were going to be included, but it's looking like, from what was announced yesterday, that homeowners and private landlords will be included in this. And it's looking like a voucher system where you would have a list of registered local installers. You would get a quote from one of them. Once you kind of got the quote confirmed, you'd apply online and you get a voucher towards the cost of it. It's looking roughly like 2/3, although depending on the vulnerability or the income of the household, it might be even higher. And so that could be grants of up to £5,000 or £10,000 towards the cost of energy efficiency measures, which is a real help for landlords and for homeowners. And at the moment, even with the current regulations, if you do have a more vulnerable tenant, and we know that some tenants do receive, disability benefits, or they might be getting universal credit or tax credits alongside working, and a range of different benefits out there, that actually although most of the help is not available to landlords whose EPC is below an E, for some of those harder to treat measures, you can still get the government grants. So even if your energy performance certificate is, say, below an E and you want to bring it up, for some of the harder to treat things like solid wall insulation, first time central heating, there is some grants available for that. But what this Green Home Grants does, I think, is really opens it up much wider, so you can get much more of a whole house approach. And it's a real opportunity now for landlords to have a think about improving the properties in terms of the thermal comfort for the tenants, the energy bills for the tenants, but also long-term improving the quality of the house and the investment that you have there with the property.
In the old days, now I'm going back a few years, not too many years, but if the tenant was on benefit, then they could get discounts, and they're suggesting already that they could double the benefit or the grant available to landlords. Are you aware, does the benefit tenant have to apply for it, or can the landlord still apply, or do we not know details yet?
We don't know the details yet.
Okay.
The way it works with the current system is that the tenant can apply for it. They're the ones who are eligible at the moment with the current eco grants, but obviously the landlord is asked for permission to do the work. So we don't know exactly how that's going to work with the new grants, and it may be the case that if there was additional funding for the circumstances of the tenant, then the tenant would have to be involved in that application process, because they'd have to provide some of their personal information. But other than that, I don't see why necessarily tenants would have to be involved if it wasn't, also trying to find out additional information about them. They just have to be told that there was going to be works taking place, etc. Okay,
so the main message really is, landlords, don't stick your head in the sand, don't ignore this, it's not going to go away. I know it's an EU regulation, but it's actually one we pushed for. So even after we leave the EU, it's still going to be there, isn't it? So it's going to be there for many, many years to come.
Yeah, the energy performance certificate regulations, they came from the EU, but they're now enshrined in UK law, so it's unlikely that that's going to change. And there may be some flexibility in terms of how we increase the rating and the minimum standard in this country, but it looks like that's just going to keep on going up, because we want to reduce carbon emissions and improve the housing stock in general in the UK. And I'm sure landlords also want to help improve their own housing stock.
All right, okay. Well, that's good stuff. Thank you very much for that. It's always good to speak to you. So we'll see you the next time. So thank you very much for that.
Brilliant. Can I just say that if landlords or tenants want to get any support, we have a free phone number and an email. We are generally covering Hampshire, Southampton and Portsmouth, but we also take calls from further afield. So if there was anything that you wanted further information on, or you felt that your tenants could do with some extra support around their energy bills, we're always answering questions about condensation and mould, about heating controls, and again about these grants coming through. We do try and keep on top of all the latest developments, so sometimes it's easier just to come to us and we can help explain some of the complex processes and systems out there.
Okay, well, as if by magic, your contact details will appear underneath the as you're speaking, so we'll put that up for you. That's not a problem. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for your time.